what is really the difference between going with a distributor right now or going with Film Hub. I know that there are many smaller distributors that essentially do what a filmmaker could do themselves because they not only take a 50% cut, they then use Film Hub that takes a 20% cut, leaving the filmmaker 30% really for something that a filmmaker could do themselves in pretty much a few hours. But I guess when they're going direct and they can actually speak direct to Chibi TV and so on, it can make a big difference.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
I'm also
look,
wondering. Yeah,
it's
second.
kind of like sorry to interrupt, but it's kind of like
Mhm.
back in the Walmart days when putting DVDs out in Walmart was a big deal. Like this is a great way to drive the point home is you could get a Walmart account yourself and do your own manufacturing, get your movie or your DVD in a Walmart, but it's gonna be like buried, as opposed to Lionsgate releases your movie into Walmart. It's like on in the display, front and center, eye level. It's just like they have the muscle to put it in a more visible place that's going to make people notice it.
Yeah. I have a question about sales agents because I in the last couple of years I've heard a lot of horror stories from people both on this podcast and events about distributors. The only worst horror stories I heard were actually about sales agents,
Oh,
and
sales
I'm
agents are
wondering whether
terrible.
I'm wondering whether you can give any tips on the biggest red flags when bringing on board a sales agent and what to look
Sure.
out for. Because again, I've heard so many stories of a sales agent getting you that 25K or 50K MG on a really low budget film, and the filmmaker never sees a penny of it, and how that actually happens. So I'm
Yeah.
wondering what are the main things to look out for?
So, and I'm saying this as a sales agent. I'm not a sales agent because I love selling movies. I'm a sales agent because I got tired of grabbing my ankles dealing with other sales agents. So, the big red flags are, obviously everybody's aware of things like big marketing expenses, big marketing caps. That basically means the first big chunks of money go right to them. Um, Look, I go to markets, I go to Berlin, I go to Cannes, I go to AFM, I go to these markets. It's expensive. It's a big cash flow juggling act for me to go and have the booth and put everything on the wall and whatever. So, I got to cover my cost. But that doesn't mean that I expense these movies to death to the point where the filmmakers never see anything. Um, the way I do it, even if I rarely expense much back to a movie, but even if I do, I'm paying a producer out from dollar one. There's ways to structure a deal so that even if they have to recoup expenses, there's still money going back to the producer from dollar one. But sales agents, no, it's profitable to structure it in a way. There's just a big marketing cap, which it's not even recoupable expenses. It looks like that, but it's really just a fee. And that's why they can, fly business class and stay at nice hotels and have nice dinners and whatever on, at the expense of the films. Some ways to like sniff that out. Um, First of all, the two biggest resources you have to vetting a sales agent is like look at their catalog. Are they volume driven or do they focus on quality over quantity? There's a lot of sales agents out there. You look at their website, you look at their catalog or whatever, and you're like, they have 1,200 films here and they all look the same. Like, what about this sales agent gives me confidence that they're going to actually focus and customize the effort to my film? Um, you always want to focus on a company that is more focused on quality over quantity, which is getting harder because it's becoming a volume business with streaming. But again, like working with somebody who has 75 to 100 titles in their catalog versus one of these companies that has 1,200 to 2,000 titles in their catalog. You want to look at the catalog and say, okay, well, I have a very specific type of horror film. Like, do they have anything else like this that can work for you or against you? If they have other stuff that's just like yours, it could be good in the fact that they might already have buyers queued up that are interested in that type of film. I get other like trafficking movies and stuff sent to me all the time because people know I do the girl lost movies. So they're like, oh, well, this has similar themes. So maybe he'd be interested. I tend to stay away from it because I have the Girl Lost film, so I don't want to necessarily pick things up that compete with it. Um, on the other hand, if they have nothing that's similar to yours, then it's like, well, maybe they don't have a track record and they don't necessarily have the right buyers for it. So, there's things like that to consider. But your most valuable resource is always other filmmakers, because other filmmakers love to beat their chest and like brag about their wins and their losses. They love to tell you who's great, and they love to tell you, and even more than that, they love to tell you who's not great. So it's easy enough if you're talking to a sales agent and considering working with them, because most sales agents are charming and tell you what you want to hear. But the reality is what are they really like? How communicative are they? How collaborative are they? Are they going to respond to you, be responsive to you? Are they going to show you reports? Are they going to pay? Are they going to cook their books? Like, you'll find that out from other filmmakers. You can go online, see other films they've done, reach out to those filmmakers either through IMDb or social media. And most filmmakers, especially if they've had a bad experience, are very happy to tell you and be like, no, run away. Or,
Yeah.
yeah, no, they're great. Like they respond to me and, they paid me and whatever.